But first, Anthony Albanese has been widely accused of pandering to the Chinese. So it was entirely fitting that his 6-day charm offensive ended where it did, with a visit to the Chengdu Panda Research and Breeding Centre. There, he reacquainted himself with Fu Ni, one of the pandas Australia borrowed 15 years ago, under a deal struck by then Foreign Minister Alexander Downer.
Fu Ni, a great ambassador for China and a great friend of Australia.
I'm not sure how great the friendship is when the token of that friendship costs taxpayers $15,000 a week to host, and you have to give it back after 10 years. But like I said, it's all about pandering, and no one panders for pandas better than our panda-loving pandering PM. As a reward for Labor successfully stabilising relations with the regime that parks warships near our coastline and jails our citizens, we've now been loaned 2 fresh pandas, or as I prefer to call them, a couple of fluffy black and white distractions. They'll be ours for the next 10 years and a cool $8 million.
The pandas who have been such an important positive feature of building the relations.
Now, I don't know about you, but I've found the past week quite strange. Let me see if I can get this straight. We're preparing for war with China at the exact same time we're relying on them for economic growth. I'm struggling to understand how we're meant to square that diplomatic circle. Our Defence Department has been staging war games, preparing for armed conflict with China at the exact same time our Prime Minister has been schmoozing with China in the hope they'll buy more of our goods. So forgive me for being a little confused, but that seems less like a strategy than a schizophrenic fantasy, albeit with a trade surplus. On the one hand, Defence Minister Richard Marles says this:
there is escalation. China's conventional military build-up is the most significant military build-up that we have seen, conventional military build-up that we have seen since the end of the Second World War.
That's a diplomatic way of saying we might have to shoot back if Beijing gets frisky. But on the other hand, here's Albanese leading a smiling business delegation through Beijing like he's auditioning for a travel brochure, trying to flog more steel to the very regime we're arming ourselves against. It's like trying to build a lifeboat out of TNT while handing the blueprint to the guy lighting the fuse. And yet, the Prime Minister's trip to China this week has been billed as a diplomatic success. And why? Well, because no journalists were arrested and no Virgin airline pilots have reported live firing exercises off our coast while Elbo's been away. Meanwhile, the ADF, well, they're pivoting north, ordering new missile systems, working on new nuclear subs, maybe, and conducting joint exercises with the United States, just in case we have to fight the very same country the PM has been busy selling our raw materials to. Imagine the cabinet meeting where all of this is mapped out. Right, so China's a threat, but also a client. So let's sell them the steel to build the navy that we all suspect might soon be attacking us. Sound good? Honestly, let's be brutal here. Australia has all the geopolitical coherence of a wok left on high heat but with nothing in it. All sizzle, no stir fry. It would be one thing if our government admitted to this tightrope act fraught with risk, but no, they speak as though this is all perfectly sensible.
We'll cooperate where we can, disagree where we must.
As if relying on China economically while arming ourselves against them militarily is not just rational, no, it's nuanced. That's Canberra speak for we hope no one notices. This makes absolutely no sense. But it gets worse. The same government that's preparing us for possible conflict with Beijing is simultaneously strangling the fossil fuel industry that underpins our defence manufacturing capability. Because nothing says we're ready to face China like an electric tank powered by Chinese solar panels that they stopped supplying when the bullets started flying. This isn't strategy, it's not even diplomacy, it's a delusion wrapped in a panda suit. The Albanese government says we need sovereign capability, but we've outsourced our economy to a one-party state that doesn't believe in sovereignty, well, unless it's theirs. And when you point all of this out, well, you're accused of racism or economic ignorance because apparently national security is a hate speech now. Even the PM sounded defensive when mentioning we need a defence force?
We need a defence force, and we make no apologies for investing in our capability to give Australia the defence and security assets that we need.
For the Prime Minister to have to say, I make no apologies for the fact we need to defend ourselves? Honestly. So I'll ask the question no one in Cabinet seems brave enough to raise. Can someone please explain how preparing for war with China while relying on China to fund our country isn't a suicidal contradiction? If we still believe national security is more than a buzzword, then it's time to face facts. You can't defend a country you've already sold. You certainly can't win a war that you've funded with your own exports. So Anthony Albanese ended his China odyssey by visiting a panda. But the real bear in the room is the foreign policy madness he's bringing home with him.